Today, we're going to compare the cameras on the Pixel 8 Pro versus the iPhone 15 Pro. So these are really great phones to take pictures with. I feel like for quality wise, it really doesn't matter. Both of them are really good. It's just little things that you may see that you probably like one over the other. Let's start off with the obvious, where on the iPhone, the max zoom you can go up to is 15x versus the 30x on the Pixel 8 Pro. Now for the telephoto side, around 15 to 30x on a Pixel 8 Pro, I feel like it's slightly soft, and I feel like that can be improved over firmware, but it still doesn't look too digitized or overprocessed. For the colors, I feel like the iPhone do pops in certain areas, like the sun or whatever the sun is hitting. That creates a really warm look to it, and it does feel like it sticks out over the 8 Pro. And in the shadows, it feels a bit too cool, or you can see more blue in the picture. Whereas on the Pixel 8 Pro, I feel like it's consistently more neutral. So it's very consistent what the colors should naturally look like the ground should be gray, the sky should be blue, and the bricks should be red. And for HDR, the Pixel 8 Pro is pretty consistent, or more consistent than iPhone. So most of the times when you're taking the ultra wide shots of the city and a really sunny background, then you would see more in the dark and shadows on the Pixel pretty often. And when you shoot indoors, especially when there's a specific lighting or really non-normal lighting, I feel like a lot of the times the Pixel is trying to balance everything, where the pictures seems to be a bit darker and probably a bit more realistic, whereas on iPhone, the same thing with the colors of the shadows and the sun, the colors do pop a bit more. In portrait mode on the Pixel, it starts with 1.5x, which is pretty accurate, or I would prefer it that way versus 1x, because a lot of 1x on other phones are very wide. There are older Pixels, their portrait mode tend to start off pretty zoomed in. And then you have the option of 2x. Whereas on iPhone, you got 1x, 2x, and 3x, so more flexibility over there. I like how on the Pixel 8 Pro, the 2x doesn't seem very digitized like the past Pixels. So now I feel more confident using the 2x if I ever need to on portrait mode. Now on an iPhone, when you take a normal picture, you can turn it into portrait mode or a portrait picture. So that's a pretty cool feature that they released. And the Pixel also does the same thing. I do prefer the method on iPhone just because it's a bit faster. Whereas on a Pixel, once you hit the edit button, it does take some time for it to load or to buffer before you can see the portrait mode option. But for the overall portrait edit, I'm still going to give it to the Pixel 8 Pro just because you can still do it on the ultra wide camera. With the ultra wide pictures I took on the iPhone, I don't see any portrait mode option, so maybe for me, maybe I'm doing it wrong, but if you guys know if it works with the ultra wide camera or ultra wide pictures, then let me know down below. I do like how it's pretty easy to just take a picture and turn it to portrait mode later, but I personally feel like the cutouts while doing this method isn't the best. And to me, it looks really artificial and not natural at all, so I'm not sure how often I would use this feature. When you're taking low light pictures or when it's nighttime, pretty common that you're going to see a lot of tungsten lighting. So just like daytime with the Pixel 8 Pro, the colors tend to be more neutral, so the tungsten orange light is trying to be more white, and on an iPhone, the orange is just basically oversaturated orange. Also with whatever lighting it hits, it also turns orange as well, so it's really up to you if you like that very saturated color or that color to pop during nighttime versus something more neutral. Also with the HDR during nighttime as well, in the shadows, more frequently you're going to see the Pixel 8 Pro to be a brighter picture. Personally, from daytime to nighttime, the Pixel 8 Pro just produces an exposed picture that just looks right, and you just can't go wrong with it. That's why I like to recommend the Pixel 8 Pro to a lot of regular consumers or people who don't really like to take pictures, who just wants a picture that just looks great without worrying about anything specific. Now for video, the contrast on the Pixel seems to be a bit higher, so things do pop out just a bit more, whereas on the iPhone, it tends to lean on the flatter side. I also noticed the Pixel 8 Pro seems to be more sensitive in terms of exposure, and it feels like it's prioritizing on the highlights and trying to expose for that, so the overall image or the video seems to be pretty dark on the Pixel. Whereas on iPhone, you can tell that it's pretty consistent throughout the whole time, but that's just something that I've noticed as I'm just walking around and filming. You can still record with its telephoto lenses, and personally I am a fan of the 5X. It sucks that the iPhone 15 Pro doesn't have it where the Max does, so hopefully next year the regular iPhone 15 Pro will have 5X. And I wouldn't really want to shoot with these telephoto lenses as I'm walking because it's really shaky and you can see a lot of micro jitters. So I would recommend just to stand still and pan around with your body if you're planning to shoot with its 5X or 3X. And max zoom you can record is 20x on a Pixel and 9x on iPhone, so that is a huge difference. So maybe if you're the type of person that goes to concerts a lot, then the 8 Pro might be more beneficial. Shooting with the ultra wide during nighttime, I feel like the stabilization is better on the Pixel 8 Pro, and I do see less micro jitters each time I take a hard step, but as I look at the shadows, it feels like the Pixel 8 Pro does show a bit more noise and artifacts. And then with the wide lens, both are pretty good. I feel like on the Pixel 8 Pro, a lot of things has cleaned up, especially from the past models. Given that there is a lot of street lights and car lights, I would say both of these images are pretty clean, and personally, I can now recommend shooting video with the Pixel 8 Pro with the wide camera. Moving on to the telephoto, you can tell that it still needs some work. I'm trying to hold still as the best as I can, and you can still see some micro jitters. On the Pixel, obviously you can still see the noise happening in the dark sky. So that is the comparison between these two phones, and the Pixel 8 Pro has caught up in a lot of different ways. So let me know your thoughts down below and which one would you prefer. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.